or the grant of a premises licence for Unit 1, Seymour Shopping Centre, 45 Towngate, Ossett, WF59BL. Before we start, can I ask that all your mics and cameras are switched off? I'm chair of this subcommittee and I represent Pontefract North.
Hi, my name is Councillor Jessica Carrington. I represent Ackworth, North Emsall and Upton.
My name is Catherine Scott and I represent Airedale, Penrith Fryson, Townville and Fryson Village.
My name's Karen Malcolm and I'm the clerk for the committee today.
I'm legal advisor to the committee.
Hello, I'm David Hollis, licensing officer.
Mr. Semper?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nick Semper. I'm from the licensing guys, and I am the representing the applicant in this case.
Councillor Carrington?
Hi, I've already introduced myself, Chair.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Councillor Masterman?
Hi, Councillor Lynn Masterman, and I represent Ossett and Garthorpe.
Mr. Jones?
Good morning, I'm David Jones, business owner in Ossett and resident of Ossett.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Are there any declarations of interest not previously declared? No. All applications that come before the subcommittee will be treated on their own merits, and the licensing authority will take its decisions based upon the merits of the application, the promotion of the 4 licensing objectives, the policy of the licensing authority, copies of which are available on the council's website www.wakefield.gov.uk, the recently revised guidance issued by the Home Office for Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003. The 4 licensing objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. With that, I'll hand over to Mr. Jakes, the legal officer, to outline the application before the subcommittee.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's an application that's been made by Mr. Semper, assistant consultant, on behalf of Mr. Mohammed, the applicant, seeking a premises licence in respect of his premises at Unit 1, Seymour Centre in Ossett, seeking an authorisation for the sale of alcohol off the premises. The application is for the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises between the hours of Monday to Sunday, 9 AM until 10 PM, and these hours, I understand, have been amended in consultation with West Yorkshire Police. Full details are contained within the application, and the operating schedule has set out the steps the applicant will take to promote the licensing objectives, which I'm sure Mr. Semper will expand upon in his representations. This also includes conditions that have been agreed with West Yorkshire Police. Representations were received by a number of other persons who have raised concerns regarding the potential for impact upon the licensing objectives. The application is granted, and concerns about the applicant's ability to promote those objectives. The representation received from Sergeant Madden from the police Ossett PT has been withdrawn. Full details are set out within the licensing officer's report, which has been circulated to the committee and all parties. That's the matter before you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Jakes. Mr. Semper, do you wish to speak on your application for your client?
I most certainly do, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Would you like me to proceed now?
Please do.
Okay, good morning. Before you is the modest application, and it speaks for itself. We've also provided printouts of the last 6 months of crime and ASB data from the Home Office crime mapper side, which are provided by the West Yorkshire Police, which shows that there is a low level of both around the premises side. We've also provided graphs to show you that Wakefield is safer on average than the rest of the force area, and that crime is indeed dropping. So well done to you in Wakefield. Consequently, I let all those documents and statistical returns speak for themselves. So I'm grateful for the site of the 7 representations. In their opinion, there is a problem with this application. For the reasons of time and clarity, I will deal with them largely together, as essentially the representatives dismiss this application out of hand with no offer of compromise or suggestion of modification. I do understand their position and will explain why I beg to differ. Now, as members of the licensing subcommittee, you'll already be aware that objections can only be made on the grounds that this application does not promote the licensing objectives. So the first point is this: the responsible authorities have a statutory responsibility to promote the licensing objectives. For example, the Police Licensing Department are the lead agency for the prevention of crime and disorder objective, and have all the facts, figures and experience needed to come here and argue vehemently against this or any application if it does not support the licensing objectives. But they are not here. I suggest there's a very good reason for that, and that reason is this: we had liaised and agreed upon the terms of this application before it was made, and they've also made recommendations subsequent to that which we have accepted in their entirety. So I submit that the Police Licensing Department have not objected under the protection of crime and disorder objective, because this application does indeed support the licensing objectives, and there is no good and valid reason to object to it in law or fact. Likewise, no other responsible authority has objected. If there was anything to object to, they are statutorily and duty bound to be here and object to it. I believe that you can read a very great deal into their absence here today. So we're left with the representations, which is a euphemism for objections, covering 3 issues, namely 1, the gates being left open in the evening, 2, there being no need for another licensed premises, and 3, crime and ASB. So I'll deal with them, please, in that order. Firstly, I appreciate that this is not going to be an easy argument to hear, but the gates being opened or closed in our submission is not a matter for consideration by the licensing committee, and I'll tell you why. Were you, at the end of this hearing, to decide not to grant this premises licence, then the gates may still be opened. Put simply, were Mr. Mohammed be permitted to prohibited from selling alcohol, then as a tenant he would still be allowed to open his shop at any time and sell all manner of things from milk to cat litter, and to do so would still be allowed to still be able to allow customer access to his premises via those gates, because the selling of everything else is not a licensable activity. I make this point simply to illustrate that it is therefore not within the gift of the licensing committee to keep those gates closed. The matter of the gates is actually irrelevant in licensing law, as it is a landlord and tenant issue, which should be resolved between the landlords and their tenants and should not be brought before you. Now, it's funny I should say that, because if you turn to your bundles, you'll find correspondence between the landlord's agent and my client, whereby permission is granted to my client to fit a second screen, which will allow access to the shop, but deny access to the rest of the arcade. We've actually had a go at providing a photo of what that screen will look like once fitted, and it will look exactly like all the other railings in that arcade. So the principal recurring issue repeated throughout the representations of the gates being opened after 5 p.m. has already been resolved without, but with the greatest respect to, this licensing committee. So the second head is that there's no need for yet another. Okay, now the argument of no need for yet another is specifically outside the remit of the licensing legislation. You've mentioned already in opening Section 182, the Section 182 guidance provided under the Licensing Act 2003. And your legal advisor, Mr. Jacks, who I have great respect for, will point to para 14.19 of the statutory guidance because it states need concerns the commercial demands for another, and it is a matter for the planning authority and the market. It is not a matter for a licensing authority to decide upon in discharging its licensing functions or for its statement of licensing policy. Okay, that was the quote, and you can see it clearly in para 14.19 of the statutory guidance. Therefore, the no need for another economic argument is irrelevant in law. Now, thirdly, we've got the crime and the antisocial behaviour. I will now address you on the localised crime patterns. As I've already proved, using the police statistics provided to the Home Office, Wakefield enjoys low crime rates compared with its neighbouring policing areas. And those crime rates and antisocial behaviour rates are falling. You will find in your bundle that I have produced printouts of the official stats from that site, and it is based on the data produced by the police. Now, luckily, the crime mapper system gazetteers. It fixes nodes, geographical locations very near to the premises. And there's much talk of this bus station. Well, luckily, it gazetteers exactly to that bus station, the very location that the representations themselves zone in on. And you can see the number and type of crime and ASB incidents broken down for each of the past 6 months. Now, the figures are remarkably low for this location. In the past 6 months, there have been a total of 9 antisocial behaviour incidents, which works out at 1.5 incidents per calendar month. There were 3 public order incidents in the last 6 months, which equates to half an incident per calendar month. And there was 1 violent or sexual offence, that's probably an assault, and that comes in at 0.17 incident per calendar month. And there was 1 damage offence, again, 0.17 incidents per calendar month. Now, as concerns all incidents, if you lump them all together and you divide them up into the last 6 months, it rumbles on at 2.3 incidents per calendar month in the locality. That's about 1 a fortnight, just over 1 a fortnight. Okay. Now, this is remarkably low crime for any similar location in Wakefield. But this is not a matter of my opinion as a former local policing lead for another city in the Midlands. It's simply a matter of counting the numbers in front of you. Maths don't care about feelings or speculative opinions, but of facts. And the simple fact is that this is a comparatively low crime area. There's an awful lot of interference. I don't know if somebody's not muted their mic, but I'll press on anyway. I hope you're getting me. Okay. Yeah. Now we have limited mention in the representations of street drinking. Now, very quickly on street drinking, the Police and Crime Act of 2017 and the House of Commons briefing paper 5117, which I provided as part of the disclosure, remind us that drinking in the street or in a public place is not an offence. It is not even an offence to drink in a controlled alcohol area. It is only an offence to refuse a request to cease drinking or surrender alcohol to an authorised person, such as a community protection officer or a police officer. I mention this as there is reference in one representation to people who buy drink and stand about outside. We all know what is meant, but I believe we would all benefit from clarity on the actual UK law. Drinking in a public place is not a crime, and therefore does not fall within the crime and disorder objective. We must also recognise, and this is important as well, folks, we must also recognise that this applicant has sold no alcohol to anyone ever in Osset. In all fairness, how can what has or hasn't gone on in the past at other premises be laid at his door? Just how can that be? So, How likely, and I next asks you to address likelihood, how likely would a real and tangible rise in crime and ASB, were you to grant this licence, occur? I submit that these premises, operating under and committed to a set of licensing conditions like the ones you see before you, and are indeed acceptable to the police licensing unit themselves, that premises would not undermine the licensing objectives or your local licensing policy. The representative's position is that, were you to grant this application, then the situation will become worse. I gainsay that. Selling alcohol responsibly will not cause a new localised spike in alcoholism or conjure up many more so far unidentified antisocial or criminally motivated street drinkers who will suddenly flood into the area. Why would they come and flood the area because of this premises when there are other premises here already? The representatives have no evidence that this will happen. It is merely their opinion based on speculation. You will, of course, again be reminded by Mr. Jacks, your legal advisor, that speculation is excluded from your considerations under the precedent set in the famous Thwaites case. Her Honour Justice Black stated that you can only consider real evidence of actual problems. With respect, there is none of either before you. Now, I must also remind you, and this is important, that you have not heard, we have not heard in this room so far, and you will not read in any of the papers, one piece of evidence or intelligence that speaks against this particular applicant or these premises. So in conclusion, today's hearing is an evidence-based process in a quasi-judicial setting. The issue of the open and shut gate has been closed. It is there is some talk of, but no evidence before you, of disproportionate levels of crime and antisocial behaviour issues, and some speculation about what might happen were those gates to be left open. You are aware that clear legislation and statutory guidance precludes extraneous issues entering into your consideration. We are, in fact, offering a raft of conditions on this premises licence that have been agreed by the police licensing unit, as they would indeed promote the licensing objectives. Consequently, and very respectfully, I exhort you to grant this modest application in the narrow terms within which it has been framed and applied for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Semper. I've noted that Mr. Kahali Mustafa has joined the meeting. Could I ask that, unless you wish to speak, you turn your microphone off, please? I think that's where we're getting his interference from.
We have a microphone on. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, do you hear us?
Could you turn your camera off if you wish and just speak if you wish to add to what Mr. Semper has said?
In the first place, guys, nobody respond back to us anyway.
Thank you.
Is that all right now, Jacob?
Sorry?
Is it done, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Mustafa. Do you wish to add to what Mr. Semper has said on the application?
Well, I think he said 100% what exactly we thought. The only reason is been objected because the shop is applied for the license. If there was not a license, alcohol license, there would be no objection, and the objection of arcade gate open would be no issue. I mean, if we just sell, the shop is just sell any dairy products, everything else apart from the alcohol, I don't think that any other objection will come forward, say this shop opening hours between 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock night will have an impact of arcade. But as applied for the license, the objections are coming forward. And I already spoke with Mr. Semper, we said we can, if we can put a gate between the already fitted door, which is stopping beyond the door is already fitted, after 5 o'clock, we put a proper gate which is as high as possible at the arcade. If that's not possible, we can block the existing door and we open the outside window, which is already have a front shutter, which is have nothing to do with the arcade. So I think Mr. Simper have mentioned all possibility we wanted to do. So
thank you. So you can, excuse me, so you can confirm that you are willing to fit a second screen in the arcade?
Yes, we do, and we already have a welder and the person who is basically professionally that do these shutters and gates. They both we had basically different offers instead of financial, and then it can be done, and we will do it as soon as hearing is over.
Yeah. And you're also in agreement with PC1's CCTV conditions?
We will follow the guidance of the license officers act. Yes, definitely.
Could I ask how many staff you employ?
Well, as we probably, it depends how busy the show is going to be. If it's obviously it's not too big anyway, but as Mr. Simper already mentioned, the hours will be reduced, was initially was mentioned. And then the staff, probably we have one during day and afternoon, probably we have 2 staff, which is more busier, as probably people are. Afternoon will be 2 staff, mainly on weekend.
Thank you. And they will be fully trained up on the alcohol sales and the CCTV operations?
Yes, they will be, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Carrington, have any questions?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I've just got one question. Regarding the extra gate or screen that you're proposing to put in, will that have any impact on like the fire exits around there for the shop itself?
Yes, if I can take that one. This has all been agreed. There's a letter in front of you from Mr. Hurl Lenton, who is the agent for the landlords, and it has all been agreed, ma'am.
Right, okay, thanks, Chair.
Councillor Scott, any questions?
I have, thank you, Chair. Just a few. Can you tell me where the CCTV will be situated? Will it be looking outside as well as inside?
Are you asking?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We have supplied a plan with the application, but if it is your wish, anticipating the direction of your question, if it is your wish that there is CCTV placed over that front door, covering that vestibule, that area that will be screened off, that will please make that a condition of your grant, and it will happen.
Thank you. I think that it would be a good idea, because we've asked for that on others, and it is a deterrence sometimes, and also you can see people coming in to the shop and leaving the shop.
In that case, ma'am, we would be delighted to accede to your good idea.
Thank you. Just a few more questions, please. We've mentioned about staff and training on CCTV. Will they also be trained? Will all staff be trained on CCTV? And will all staff be trained, and how often, on ensuring that they understand how to question people when they think they're below age?
And again, excellent point. Now, if you look at the conditions, ma'am, West Yorkshire are very keen on accessibility to CCTV, and that involves the training of staff, and that's contained within the condition, which is a standard created by the police licensing unit. If you scroll down, you'll also see that there is a condition that all staff who retail alcohol will be trained in responsible alcohol retailing to BIIAB level 1 or equivalent. And actually, my little company, the licensing guys, we undertake that training, and we will be training all the staff, as we have done at many other premises in Wakefield.
And
And
how
that-
soon?
that's-
Sorry to butt in, but how soon, when a member of staff starts, will that training take place?
I believe that's covered in the. I believe that's covered in the condition. I haven't quite got it in front of me. I think it's. Is it within 3 months of being taken on, or is it? I'm not sure which one the West Yorkshire insist upon, or is it immediately prior to being authorised to sell? Either way, ma'am, let me assure you, those people will be trained, because I will be training them, or rather, my company will be training them.
Thank you. Another question is, if you do get, if this license is successful and you get the go ahead, then what be trained to do if something is happening outside the shop with antisocial behaviour?
Well, clearly, police in the public area, you need particular powers to do that. But
I'm not wanting you to intervene. I'm just asking what they would do. I'm not asking for somebody to go out and split a fight up. I'm just saying.
Right, ma'am. Okay. Well, we will use our best endeavours to ensure that people don't loiter around, causing a nuisance as much as we can do as unwarranted members of the public. However, clearly, with the CCTV provision that you have insisted upon, we will clearly be cooperating with any police investigation that takes place thereafter.
I think what I'm asking is, would you ring 999 or 101? Would you train staff to say, if there is something going up outside, would you actually contact the police?
Sorry, I put myself on mute there. Right. Okay, that is part of the responsible alcohol retailing training. There is a module in that about actions in the event of. Okay, now if it's an emergency, or if it's a crime in action, that's a 999, or if it's a non-emergency, that's a 101.
Yeah, the staff will understand to do that.
Ma'am, not only will they be trained, but they will be certificated, and then they will be regularly retrained in accordance with the terms of the licence before you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of more questions. How are staff going to ensure that adults aren't coming in and purchasing alcohol for younger people?
Another excellent question. That's called a proxy sale, and we have a module of training on that in the training module that we'll be providing, in the training package that we'll be providing. Sorry, I got my words mixed up there.
Thank you. Just one more question from me. So, can I confirm that you're now talking about closing at 10 and not 11? Or are you actually closing the shop at 10 or stopping selling alcohol at 10 and not 11?
Mr. Mustafa, can you answer that one for the lady, please?
Yes, I can. We will close the shop at 9 o'clock. We already decided 9 o'clock the shop will close altogether.
9 o'clock. So earlier on we mentioned it says in the papers 11, then earlier on you mentioned 10, and now you're saying 9. So can you confirm that it's 9 now then?
I do confirm, and then if it's all is about how business running. If the business after 7 or 8 o'clock is not going to be as busy, probably we are reducing hours afterward. But we will not increase it, definitely. We will decrease.
Councillor Scott, just for points of clarity, the initial one was 11 o'clock. The initial application was 11 o'clock. But the police thought again, even though we'd had discussions beforehand and email conversations, police thought again and said, we're more comfortable with 10. And I say, right, okay, that's why it's amended down to 10. Now, Mr. Mustafa has just told us his initial intention is to operate until 9. But if footfall is such, he would like to stay open until 10. I hope that clarifies the position.
So you're wanting us to grant a licence today until 10?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Right, okay. Thank you very much. That's all my questions for the moment. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Scott. Thanks, Mr. Semple. Thanks, Mr. Mustafa. Councillor Masterman, you've raised an objection to the application. Do you wish to speak on your objection?
Chair, just before Councillor Masterman comes in, can I just seek some clarity on the conditions of the application?
Of course, Mr. Jake.
I can see obviously that there was the operating schedule completed, which had a number of conditions on which Mr. Semper put forward. And then there's an amendment, there's a condition submitted by the police, which is a revision of the CCTV condition. Are there any other conditions that have been referred to, or is that the extent of the conditions that were considered? That's what the question is really.
That's a very good point. Thank you for that. Yeah, you often get this sort of ping pong between, the negotiations. Whatever's on the table in front of you regarding the CCTV conditions that are the wish of the West Yorkshire Police Licensing Unit are what we're prepared to accept, sir.
Right. So just following that up. So the CCTV condition I can clearly see is as per PC Warden's email to yourselves on the 14th of October. Are the only other conditions that are submitted as part of the application contained within the operating schedule and largely at numbers 1 to 30, save where the CCTV condition from the police overrides that?
Yes, you're absolutely right, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jakes. Councillor Masterman, do you wish to speak on your objection?
Yes, please, Chair. Thank you. Some of this is irrelevant, as already pointed out by Mr. Semper, but I think I'll have my say. I'm all for OSSE having more shops and for businesses to thrive. However, we've already got 12 retail outlets selling alcohol in or around the town centre, plus pubs and clubs when they're allowed to open. The town centre was subject to a dispersal order not long ago, which was applied for by the sergeant of the neighbourhood policing team. This was as a result of ASB in the bus station. Get my teeth in the bus station, which was spilling out into the town centre. Now, the fact that the dispersal order was granted seems to indicate that ASB was taken seriously by the police and they acted accordingly. Crime figures that have been supplied are for Wakefield. Is this Wakefield as a district? If so, it clearly doesn't show the level in OSSE locally. The arcade is close to the bus station, and gathering youths would quite happily gain access to the undercover arcade to get out of the weather. The fence across won't stop this, and there is still an area for them to gather. Why exacerbate a problem that already exists? If someone could give me a cast iron assurance that the ASB would not spread here, I would be happy. Unfortunately, that's something no one can foresee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Masterman. Just a question. The actual area around the arcade, is it a packed priority area?
Sorry, Chair, what is it? What area?
Packed priority area. Do you have packed meetings in that area with police and community?
We do, yes.
And how often?
We used to do.
And it's often raised about the antisocial behaviour in the area.
It is, yes.
But you said you should do. Aren't they carrying on with these now?
They're online meetings, but they've been sort of far and few between because of COVID.
Yeah, I don't understand that because I'm involved obviously with Pontefract North. Yeah, thank you. Councillor Scott, any questions to Councillor Masterman?
Oh, morning, Councillor Masterman. Can you tell me the antisocial behaviour in Ossett Town Centre, when the dispersal order were in place, did that reduce it somewhat, and has it risen since the order finished?
It seems to have reduced it for a time, but we still have the antisocial behaviour sort of element in the town centre.
Can you just confirm how near is this shop to the bus station? Because it's been spoken to about the bus station and antisocial behaviour in the bus station. And what makes you think selling alcohol? If these are youths, so are they under 18, so they can't purchase alcohol? What difference that will make to having this shop open?
It's just the gathering outside that I'm more concerned about. The bus station is really close, maybe 100 yards from the actual arcade. Was there anything else, Councillor Scott?
Yeah, we've looked at the figures. We've been sent the figures, and the police haven't put any objections in. Is there anything that we should know about that's not actually being recorded by the police?
Well, you're now aware of
the people come to you and not go to the police.
Sometimes they do, because, as you know, as a local councillor yourself, they think that we don't have any police in the area, which is totally wrong. But they won't go down that route, and they would rather speak to me and get me than report it in. So that's unfortunate, but that's how some people think.
Well, just one more question, Councillor Masterman. If the applicant, if the license is agreed today, and if Mr. Mustafa puts CCTV outside, do you think that would allay fears of residents locally?
I think that would go very much towards that, with the CCTV outside.
Thank you.
Councillor Carrington, any questions to Councillor Masterman?
No, thanks, Chair. I think Councillor Scott's covered some what I was going to ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Masterman. Mr. Jones, you've raised an objection to the application. Would you wish to speak on it?
Hello there. Yes, I'm a business owner that's very close to the bus station. Obviously, the arcade is gated for a reason, due to previous aspects of antisocial behaviour in the area. Not everything is reported either to the police via the public or from West Yorkshire Metro. There is CCTV in the bus station that doesn't put a gathering of youths in the area. The only thing that really disperses the youths is the local PCSO, Tracy, who will sit in the bus station every night she's on duty and has time to spare to ensure that the youths don't congregate in the area. Most of the youths aren't from the local area. They bus themselves into the town centre, and obviously if they're not in the bus station, the arcade is an area for them to gather, as it's dankly lit and obviously dry. There is the drinking of alcohol doesn't concern me. That doesn't really take place in the town centre around and about by youths. They're more into drug taking. We've seen drug deals take place across from the proposed licensed premises in the alleyway and at the rear at the bus station by the car park. I believe the police are aware of it, but trying to catch them in the act. So there's numerous incidents of the windows being put through in the bus station. The West Yorkshire Metro have had to get a security guard in when issues become quite severe in the area. And there's another, these people don't feel 100% safe in the area, especially the older generation. And there has been a couple of random attacks on public for muggings and things. I think that's everything.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, are you the proprietor of the beer house?
I am, yes.
Is that an off licence?
We are a specialist drinks retailer, so the actual applicant across from us wouldn't have any aspect on our business. So there is we're not against the actual opening of the shop with the license, because that would affect more of the off license, which is 2 doors away from the pros development.
And how near is your property actually to the arcade itself?
We are probably 100 metres away, if less.
Thank you. Councillor Carrington, any questions?
Thanks, Chair. Just wondering, I don't know if you know, David, but has there actually been any damage to the shops or anything around this area from the antisocial behaviour what's been taking place?
Yes, if you come to our rear, you'll see that the box, Coral and ourselves all have boards up due to broken windows that have been put through. Luckily for ourselves, our windows are bad at the back, so no one can get in. But that's free the shops by the bus station that had the windows put through. We've also accessed the old post office sorting office yard, and I've been known to be on the roof of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Scott, any questions to Mr. Jones?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Jones, would it make a difference if, because it's now 10 o'clock and not 11, and Mr. Mustafa has said initially it'll be 9 o'clock, does that make any difference?
I think with the actual, if the gates are open to the arcade, it doesn't really matter what time they're open till. I presume that most kids are away from the area from around about 10 o'clock anyway. It's that post 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. where you see most of the gatherings taking place.
Thank you. And also, he's mentioned he's agreed to put CCTV outside if he does get the licence. Does that allay your fears at all?
It's obviously a deterrent. Although there is CCTV in the bus station, outside the bus station, on the precinct, it rarely makes much difference because most of them are all, even in summer, are all hooded up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Do you wish to summarise?
No, I think I've covered everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Masterman, do you wish to summarise?
No, Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Mr. Semper, do you wish to summarise?
Yes, look, we are not impervious to the issues that have been raised by the other representatives. Okay, that's the first thing. So I'm not dismissing them. It's just that we just need to go back to the crime and ASB issues, the stats that I provided around that bus station. Now, by the sounds of things, it sounds like Sergeant Madden has lost control of the town centre bus station. However, actually, when you look, there are only 9 ASB issues recorded by the police in the last 6 months. Yes, there was a spike in August. That's probably when the dispersal order went in. But actually, 5 incidents, every incident's unacceptable, but 5, just over 1 a week, that is not at the top end of disproportionate. Let's have a look at we mentioned a window being broken in a bus in the bus station, I think it was. That's actually on the record for June, I presume. There's 1 incident of damage in that bus station or in that vicinity in June. And that's the only incident of damage recorded by the police during that entire time. We also heard mention of a mugging. That again there's only one violent offence recorded in the vicinity of that part of town, and that again was in June. There's been nothing reported since. Now look, I'm not making light of what these good people are telling us. It's just that, with respect, and it just needs to be put into some form of perspective. The maths, they're facts, and these are the police's own statistics in front of you. That's primarily my issue. But look, we've heard what these good representatives and the good councillor have had to say, and we are acutely aware of what possible issues might happen, speculative though they may be, in future. And my client will be putting his mind to them to make sure that his operation does not add to any further issues, and hopefully proves to be an asset to the area. And actually the very presence of the shop being open that night and the CCTV will prove to be a very active deterrent to further problems in the future. So thank you very much indeed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Semper. Mr. Mustafa, have you anything to add?
I think it's pretty much everything Mr. Semper just mentioned regarding the crime and the violence in this area. Has been obviously you all have this rate in front of you, and then I believe Mr. David Jones has mentioned about the youth in the area, and the question is, if we not open basically this shop's not going to open, what level of this crime was going to be reduced? If the shops are open, what crime and what level of crime will be raised because the shop is open in future? And then as a CCTV, we have basically personally I have experience as installer CCTV. We have the best of the CCTV, which is Vision HD 10.8, and all single cameras will be 2.5 HD and is as clear as possible. You could see on in HD TVs and in modern days. And then the terabyte will be a hard drive with 1 terabyte, which is recording over 31 days, possibly depend how many cameras we install. And it is legal to record outside shop or in any angle. We would be happy to put the CCTVs to cover the area if that's legal to record the public by our CCTV. And the staffs and whose work there, they all will be trained by Mr. Semper, as he mentioned, and the CCTV will be basically they have access to it any time the police will come ask for any specific time. And then we are, as obviously we're going to have a business, we have a family as well. We try to maintain the shop as good as possible. We want to go home in a safe way and go to shop in a safe way. And we will work with the police and the community to make sure the crime will reduce rather than increase. And then we will try our best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. Is everyone satisfied that they have said all they wish to do regarding this application? Thank you. The subcommittee will make our decision in private. Hopefully we should arrive by a decision by 10 to 12. James, could you put the committee and officers in private now, please? of the Skype meeting. It's not the easiest of proceedings, but thanks everybody for the patience. We've arrived at a decision on this application, taking all representations into consideration, and Mr. Jakes will read out the decision.
Yes, thanks, Chair. This is an application for a premises licence for the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises between the hours of Monday to Sunday, 9 AM till 10 PM. The applicant has appeared today represented by Mr. Semper to provide further information in support of that application. He submitted police crime data as part of his submissions and confirmed the relatively low crime and ASB figures in that area. There have been no objections to the application from lead agencies West Yorkshire Police for crime and disorder. The applicant has also engaged with the police licensing team and agreed a revised CCTV condition. Within the operating schedule, the applicant has also provided a further list of measures to promote the licensing objectives, which include maintaining incident logs, no single sales of cans, reduced strength of alcohol on sale, and a refusals log. Mr. Semper has also confirmed steps taken with the landlord's agents for a screen to be in situ, which will allow access to his clients but prevent access to the rest of the arcade. He also referred the subcommittee to section 182 guidance, and that needs a consideration, and that this application with the measures in place will actually promote the licensing objectives rather than undermine them. The subcommittee have also been reminded of the requirement for real evidence, and Mr. Semper referred to the Thwaites High Court case. Representations against the application received from a number of local residents, businesses, and local ward councillor, and Councillor Masterman has been part of the hearing and referred to the problems in the area and the history of the recent dispersal order and her concerns for persons gathering outside of these premises. And she also confirmed that not all issues are reported to the police and that she received complaints. Mr. Jones, a local businessman and resident, has also objected to the application. At the arcade, he says, is an area for youth to gather, and if the gates are open beyond 5 PM, there may be further problems, whilst he did accept that CCTV would be a deterrent. As stated, there were a number of other objections, written objections, which the subcommittee have taken into consideration. Is a well made out application, and Mr. Semper has provided assistance today and explained the measures the applicant will take to promote the licensing objectives. The subcommittee also note the good work in seeing engagement that has taken place with West Yorkshire Police and the revised CCTV conditions. It also addressed concerns raised in the objections regarding the proposed screen preventing access to other parts of the arcade following negotiations with the landlord's agents. Whilst the subcommittee recognised the concerns of the objections, having a business which will have these measures in place will hopefully assist in addressing and deterring antisocial behaviour that may exist in the area, whilst the subcommittee do require an amendment to the CCTV, which will require a camera to be located on the outside of the entrance door, and also a new condition for training of staff, which will read, all staff shall be trained to a recognised standard prior to being authorised to sell alcohol, and annual refresher training shall be maintained, and a record of this shall be kept on the premises and available for inspection by authorised officers. With that in place, the subcommittee are satisfied that this application should be granted and believe it appropriate and proportionate to the information that they've heard this morning. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jakes. That's the end of this hearing this morning, and can I thank everyone for the time? Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. You've been very fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Have a nice Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year as well, it's going.
Yeah.
Same to you all.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, and have a good Christmas. And
Thank you.
Thank you.